Hello and welcome to another video. This is MF INCOOM and today we're talking about real world and on-chain security. Very important. So when taking self-custody of our assets, security is probably the biggest risk that we have to take. This is something that as users of the traditional banking system, we wouldn't have to think too much about. Nope. So as you can see, the bank here secures your money because really they have custody of your money. It's their responsibility to make sure that your money is safe with them. Whereas when we hold crypto, the only responsibility is down to us. And sometimes we might not be as diligent as the banks in ensuring that everything is safe that we own. So we have to have our own backs. In the UK, we have the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, which can compensate deposited money up to £85,000 in a personal account if the money is lost or stolen. You can also get some bank transactions reversed or cancelled if they were fraudulent. These measures are put into place to protect customers from fraud or bank runs. So here we know that these guys have got your back. They're going to compensate you if anything goes wrong. On the blockchain, no institutions are here to save you. It's impossible to cancel or reverse transactions on the blockchain. And if someone has control over your keys or your seed phrase, they control your wallet. So this is how I leveled up my security on chain and off chain as well. So in the real world, and also whilst using the websites, applications on chain. So when we first generate our seed phrase containing either 12 or 24 words, we are told to memorize them or to store them on a piece of paper. Maybe even store them on a USB stick that is not connected to a computer. The problem with that is that, your seed phrase might burn, it might be eroded, or water spills on it or something like this. Your memory might fade over time, you remember it incorrectly, and then you've lost access to it. Or your USB stick might be smashed up or just stop working over time, and then you've lost access to your funds as well. One of the first things I did was buy a ledger, and the ledger stores your keys inside of it. So that way, when you're connecting to MetaMask or other wallets, like wallet extensions, you don't have to type in your seed phrase for every new extension that you download. You only need to connect to your ledger, and the ledger will kind of connect through it and allow you to interact with the blockchain. I don't actually use MetaMask. I tend to use frame.sh, and I would recommend them, but hey, I shouldn't really recommend anything. The problem with this is when you go to a website and it asks you to enter your seed phrase, there may be a malicious hacker on the other side that wants to get your seed phrase to control your crypto, your keys. Even by signing certain transactions, you'll end up giving permission to a smart contract to allow you to spend your crypto, which is no good. At the moment, this is the safest way for me, and probably for most of you, to use a ledger-like device and connect through that. And when you buy a ledger, this is how Ledger expects you to store your seed phrase. They give you a piece of paper with 24 spaces on it to write down all your words, and those words are more important to me than just being stored on a piece of paper. It's maybe makes sense for a while, but I think when you get serious about it, this ain't good enough to have your millions and billions of pounds stored onto it. So the solution was Bitplates, and I ended up stumbling across someone's website. They did a great job explaining and reviewing different ways to store their seed phrase. So let's get on to it. So here you can see the word number that is stored, along with you can see like under the third word, you've got space for 1, 2, 3, 4 letters. So only the first 4 letters of each word of your seed phrase are needed. You can read more about this if you read the Bitcoin Improvement Protocol 39. That kind of lays out the foundation for seed phrases and the security about that. There is a word list of like over 1,000 words that are possible to be chosen to when generated to make your seed phrase. And yeah, all the first 4 letters are unique of them, so that makes it special and very clever. So I just kind of showed how maybe you would store the first word here, abandon, ABAN, and then ability, ABIL, and able, ABLE. And you could do this, it has a backside to it as well, so you could go up to 24 words, which is great. The idea is that you basically just punch holes. You can either use a device or like a hammer and a pointy thing, and you can bang a little hole indent into them. And these are fireproof, they're waterproof, they're like erosion proof, they are pressure proof, so house could collapse on them, and it's going to retain the information. Now imagine this compared to a piece of paper. This is because it's made from stainless steel, pretty thick, and yeah, that's what I decided, like this is going to be more safer than just putting on a piece of paper. Now the next level for my real world security is, yeah, I'd store like one seed phrase, my main account, on my bit plate. But then I'd also have a passphrase, which would act like a 25th word, which would equal a set of hidden accounts. So like I randomly generate this, my first seed phrase here, I randomly generate a second seed phrase, and only when you combine them is my real accounts visible. So if a thief was to steal either one of these, if they were to steal just one of each, they wouldn't be able to access my real account. Even if they stole both of them, unless they knew to combine both of them, create that 25th word from one of them, written in the way that I've chosen to write it. You can add spaces, you could capitalize some words. You don't have to use the first 6. You could have used 5 words. I could use all 12 words. You know, they would have to figure out what the passcode is and then add that on top of the initial seed phrase in order to get access to my hidden accounts, and that's where the real wealth is stored. So yeah, one main wallet and one hidden wallet. And then I'd make backups of the seed phrases and of the passcodes, and then you could store them in separate locations. So if one house got robbed, at least the other house is going to be safe. It doesn't have to be in the house, it could be anywhere. At least what the other place location will be safe, and you could use it as your backup. So just to summarize, seed phrase on one bit plate, then you need a backup of your seed phrase on another bit plate, and then you need a passphrase on a bit plate, which would look like just like a normal seed phrase, and then you need a backup of that passphrase on another bit plate, and then you need to store them in separate locations, and then you'd actually use your ledger device to access websites, applications, protocols online. So for me, I've got 4 bit plates in total, and that's like 2 seed phrases, 2 passphrases, and then stored in separate locations. For me, that gives me the maximal amount of security, I guess, based on cost basis. And then when I'm actually using to access my funds online, is being used through a ledger device. So if they you can't just take my seed phrase and like spend it online. I guess you can if you had the seed phrase, but you can't. This ledger gives you that extra layer of security, for sure. I guess if they got access to my computer and tried to spend my crypto, they would need my ledger advice, my ledger device in order to actually spend it, and they would need to know my password to access the ledger and stuff like that, which again is another layer of security, which makes it harder. So just a little disclaimer that you probably could do more than this. This is where I'm at, and what I've researched I feel like is a good level of security. It's something you should take seriously, maybe more seriously. You should do some research on how you can increase your security. And this way is not invincible. It's just, for me, a big improvement over what I was doing before. And I'd recommend people to do some more research and see how they can level up their security on chain and off chain in the real world as well. I believe that's my last slide. I'm going to link some stuff. Thank you very much. Have a great day.